The state attorney.
Brianna Williams, Public Defender.
Thank you.
Noah Loretta for the public defender.
Yeah. Just click that little thing. You just click the little page right here, another tab. Mr. Mackenberg, good morning. Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Violation of probation. Does Volusia County not use a plea form for their violations of probation?
I did send one in. It's just a one-page form.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, wait, no. I don't have the plea form. I just have, oh, I do have it. Okay. Ms. Bush, this one does not require your signature.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
It does mine, though. Okay. All right, sir, please state your name for the record.
Edward Megenberg?
All right, and Mr. Mackenberg, do you read and understand English?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review the plea form with your lawyer?
Yes.
Do you recall signing the plea form?
Yes.
And were you able to ask him any questions you might have about the constitutional right to giving up on the plea form?
Yes.
Was he able to answer all of your questions?
Yes.
Sir, you were placed on probation for the offense of petty theft, a third-degree felony. The maximum punishment for that is 5 years in prison, 5 years of probation, and up to a $5,000 fine. Do you understand the maximum penalties for the
Yes.
charge? Your plea form indicates that you are going to change your denial and enter an admission to violating your probation, specifically conditions 3 and 5, 9, and 14. Is that what you wish to do at this time?
Yes.
It's my understanding that the agreement is that your probation or your adjudication will be reaffirmed. Your probation will be revoked and terminated. You will be sentenced to 180 days in the county jail with whatever credit for time that you have. And your court costs. Is that what your understanding of the agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you anything other than what's been stated here in open court today?
No.
Have you been forced, threatened, or coerced in any way?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
And you understand that entry of this plea will result in your deportation if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Mr. Loretta, did you have an opportunity to review the score sheet?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any objections to the score sheet?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mackenberg, at this time, I am going to accept your plea. I'll reaffirm your adjudication. I will revoke and terminate your probation. I will sentence you to 180 days in the Orange County Jail. How many days does Mr. Mackenberg have?
85 days on the Volusia County. 85?
Okay.
85.
He's been in Orange County Jail for 85 days?
Only when the Volusia County warrant was served on him. But he's been here since May, but he had Orange County charges.
Okay. Was it your understanding, Mr. Mackenberg, that he would only get the credit for time served since
Since he's been in the Orange County Jail, Your Honor, I believe that was our understanding.
Okay.
The entire time?
So I'm sorry, when was he served with the warrant?
He was served with the warrant on July the 2nd. He had Orange County charges. He came in on May the 28th.
So he would have from July 2nd to
So
today
today.
for Orange County,
Yes.
All right.
plus
So-
the 85 from Volusia, or just Orange County?
No, I think what she's saying is that is when he's getting credit on the Volusia case is from July 2nd, so that's the 85 days.
Okay, all right, okay.
Your Honor, I believe the original, when I'd spoken with the state attorney in Volusia, our understanding was that all the time he'd been in Orange County. I don't know when the warrant was served in July.
July the 2nd.
I found it out.
So the note that I have, Mr. Loretta, says that it's 180 days in the county jail with credit for time served in Orange County. That's not clear to me. I don't know, and I wasn't a party to the conversation. I'm gonna do from when the warrant was served.
Okay.
But if you want to file a motion to correct the sentence, you're more than welcome to do that if you want to provide some clarification from the state attorney as to what the agreement was regarding the amount of time served. Through the out-of-county cases, I've seen both where they've waived the requirement that the warrant actually be served, and they've been giving people the credit for that entire time.
Right.
Again, I don't know what the conversation was, but I'm happy to look at any motion that you want to file.
Okay.
Okay? So, Mr. Mackenberg, again, I will sentence you to 180 days in jail with credit for 85 days time served. You will have to pay any outstanding court costs or costs of supervision, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, sir. Do you have a question, sir? You look confused.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So, what are you ready?
Good morning, Mr. Barker.
Good morning.
All right, and this is case number 2020 FW 180 Jamal Thomas.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Barker. Where's Mr. Thomas?
Okay, Mr. Thomas is at home. He received his test results yesterday. His mother forwarded that to me after I went to bed. So I woke up this morning and got the test results.
Okay,
When I woke up this morning, I wasn't awake enough to think to forward that to Sheriff and Judge Wish like I should have, but I have it on my phone. I can,
can you forward it to me
Sure.
now?
yes.
Do you want to approach and grab my address? Thank you. Mr. Barker, I'm looking at the records you sent me from Advent Health. That were forwarded to you from Sam Smith, who is Jamal's mom. Is that correct?
Yes, I think she uses someone's scanner or whatnot to get information to me. But what happened was I spoke with her last night, and I indicated to her that I not only needed proof of the negative test, but that she needed to figure out a way to get it to me where it showed the date of when the test, considering what the court's prior order was. So a few hours later, she emailed this to me. It looks like it's a listing of they're different test results because it goes back to September of 2019, so they're not all COVID tests.
Right.
He does have underlying health issues. And so it looks like the latest test that he has with Advent Health came back on the 23rd, which was yesterday. So now, according to the order, he has 48 hours to turn himself in. His mother told me she took tomorrow off from work so she can drive him up there. I don't know exactly what time the test came in, so I don't know when the 48 hours would expire. I would ask the court to set it at sometime in the afternoon so they can wake up and drive there. I don't know how long it takes to get to Bibb County, Georgia, but if we said by 4 o'clock on Friday, that seems reasonable.
Right, so I'm looking at the results that you provided. They do appear to come from Advent Health. The test results say September 23rd, where you can click to view if it was your account. And then it does say it was a COVID test. Then it says coronavirus COVID-19 test negative. So he is negative, and the test did come in yesterday. I did see that she didn't forward this to you until 12:14 a.m. this morning, and you brought it to court today. So that is the same day under the order that you were to provide it to the court. And then the order that was entered by Judge Wish does indicate that once he receives the negative test result, he has 24 or 48 hours to turn himself into the state of Georgia. Did the state or the county want to be heard at all?
Yes, Your Honor. Angela Samache for the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Part of the order, if I'm not mistaken, was that today was a mandatory court appearance from Mr. Thomas unless he was incarcerated and surrendered to Orange County and or Bibb County. And as of 8 o'clock this morning, he had not, and counsel for the defendant has already admitted that the defendant is at home.
Do you want to respond, Mr. Barker?
I didn't read the order that way. I read the order that he has 48 hours to turn himself in from the time he gets his test result, negative test result. The order clearly stated that he didn't have, and Judge Wish thought the 23rd would be the latest he should get the result back.
Right.
And she made it clear that you can't wait until the 23rd to start counting the 48 hours. As soon as you get it, you have 48 hours. I saw today as a control date to make sure he had the test back, and that if he had received it prior on the 20th, that he would be incarcerated by now. If I misread her order, I guess that's on me. I apologize, but I didn't see this was a turn-in date because that would conflict with that he has 48 hours from the time he gets his test result back.
I mean,
Your Honor, it's paragraph 10.
I'm reading it. I see it. The only thing that I don't know, I think that would be important to know, is I don't know when Mr. Thomas received the test result. So if he was supposed to be quarantining until he received his test results, I don't know what time the test results were received. So if he got them presumably, late in the day or in the evening, because they weren't forwarded to Mr. Barker until 12 a.m. This morning. But I do read paragraph 10 to state that if Mr. Thomas is not in Georgia or in custody, he is to be here in person for the hearing. Okay. So, given the circumstances, I will allow Mr. Thomas to turn himself in by 4 PM tomorrow. And I want proof that he is in Georgia tomorrow by 4 PM. Otherwise, the bond will be revoked, forfeited, and there will be a capias issued for his arrest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
I apologize for the confusion. I would offer, I just, the way I read the order saying he had 48 hours, and it says it, I apologize to the court, and
Apology accepted, Mr. Barker. I understand. Again, he will need to be there by 4 o'clock tomorrow, no exceptions.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. So on to the Spanish docket. Or the interpreter docket.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Carlos Morales, State Certified Spanish Court Interpreter. The interpreter has been sworn in already today.
Great, thank you so much. We are in courtroom 1 at the BRC.
Okay, thank you. I will connect shortly to the headsets.
Okay. Good morning.
Sí. Dame cambiarlo. Ahora. Sí, lo escucho.
Okay, we're connected, Your Honor.
Great. This is case number 20 CF 11543. Good morning, please tell me your name.
Joseph Bizarrelli.
Joseph Bizarrelli.
Sir, you were arrested for false imprisonment and battery. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Ma'am, do you need the help of the interpreter?
No. I'm
Okay. Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Lizzie Falcon?
Ma'am, did you want to have contact with Mr. Bizaret?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Do you have any concerns about your safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No.
How long have you been in a relationship?
4 years?
Have there been any instances of violence between the two of you in the past 4 years?
No.
Are there any children in the home?
No.
All right. Ms. Bush, do you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
No?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Williams? No questions at this time. Sir, you are not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Marty. Do you understand what that means?
Sí.
Yes.
You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms. I will place you on pretrial release at this time. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Sir, do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
No.
Thank you. Good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Gadiel Vázquez Rivera.
Good morning. My name is Gadiel Vasquez Rivera.
Mr. Vasquez Rivera, this is case number 20 CF 11544. You were arrested for tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement and for battery domestic violence.
Your Honor, the victim needs the services of the interpreter as well.
Thank you,
Sí.
Ms. Bush. Mr. Interpreter, would you please do this case over the PA system?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez Rivera, you were arrested for tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement and battery domestic violence.
Señor Vázquez Rivera, usted fue arrestado por la acusación de influenciar o manipular a un testigo para impedir la comunicación con las autoridades y de agresión y violencia doméstica.
There is probable cause.
Determinó que existe motivo fundado.
I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Voy a nombrarle a un defensor público para que lo represente.
Ma'am, good morning.
Morning.
Buenos días, señora.
Please tell me your name.
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Wilmary López.
Wilmary López.
All right. Ms. Lopez, please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear to
Levante la
tell
mano derecha, señora López, para prestar juramento.
do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Jura solemnemente, promete decir la verdad, toda la verdad y solamente la verdad, lo jura ante Dios.
Did she respond?
Yes.
The interpreter didn't hear anything, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you have to make sure that you speak right into the microphone so that the interpreter can hear you and that we can hear your responses.
Tiene que contestar de tal manera que le podamos escuchar, señora. Así que hable con voz fuerte, por favor.
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you want to have contact with Mr. Vasquez Rivera?
¿Quiere usted tener contacto con el señor Vázquez Rivera?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
¿Usted le tiene miedo a él?
No.
No.
How long have you been in a relationship?
¿Cuánto tiempo llevan en una relación?
De 6 meses a 1 año.
Between 6 months to a year.
Have there been any instances of violence between the two of you during the course of your relationship?
Durante el transcurso de su relación, ¿ha habido alguna ocasión ¿ha ocurrido violencia entre ustedes?
No.
No.
Are there any children in the home?
¿Hay hijos en el hogar?
No entendí.
I didn't understand.
Do you have any children that live with you?
¿Tiene niños que viven con usted?
No.
No.
Ms. Bush, did you have any questions for the witness?
Fiscal, ¿alguna pregunta para la testigo?
Yes, Your Honor, only one.
Sí,
If a
sí, su
situation
señora, solamente.
if a situation like this were to happen again, and you were fearful for your safety, would you call law enforcement?
Si una situación como esta volviese a suceder y usted tuviese temor por su bienestar o seguridad, ¿llamaría usted a las autoridades?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Ms. Williams?
Gracias, no tengo más preguntas.
No questions at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Tampoco tengo preguntas.
Mr. Vasquez Rivera, you are not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Lopez. Do you understand what that means?
Señor Vázquez Rivera, ¿le está prohibido usted tener contacto con la víctima? ¿Entiende usted lo que eso significa?
Repitamos la pregunta, por favor.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yes. You're not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Lopez. Do you understand what no hostile contact means?
A usted le está prohibido tener contacto que sea hostil con la señora López. ¿Entiende usted lo que significa eso? Que le está prohibido tener contacto hostil.
Sí, entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms.
Además, le está prohibido poseer armas o armas de fuego.
And I will place you on pretrial release at this time.
Y en este momento, entonces lo voy a poner bajo el Departamento de Libertad Provisional.
Thank you. Do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta sobre lo que le acabo de imponer?
No, no tengo preguntas. Muchas gracias y que tenga buen día.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
You too, sir. Ma'am, did you have any questions?
Señora, ¿tiene usted alguna pregunta?
No.
No,
All right, thank you.
gracias.
And Your Honor, the next victim also needs the services of an interpreter.
Sure. This is case number 20MM477. Sir, please tell me your name.
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Armando Mercado Maldonado.
Armando Mercado Maldonado.
Sir, you were arrested for battery domestic violence.
Usted fue arrestado por el cargo, la acusación de agresión, violencia doméstica.
There is
Correcto.
probable cause, and I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Determino que sí existe motivo fundado y estoy nombrando a los defensores públicos.
Ma'am, good morning.
Buenos días, señora.
Please tell me your name.
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Lechairi.
Lechairi.
Ma'am, tell me your last name.
Su apellido, por favor.
González.
González.
Miss Gonzalez, do you want to have contact with Mr. Maldonado?
Señora González, ¿usted quiere tener contacto con el señor Maldonado?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Sir, you are not to have any contact with Miss Gonzalez. You are to maintain a separate residence.
Señor Maldonado, usted le está prohibido tener contacto con la señora González y además tiene que vivir en una residencia aparte o diferente a ella.
Ok, entiendo.
All right, I understand.
You may return one time with the police to get your things if needed.
Usted podrá regresar una vez acompañado de las autoridades para buscar sus pertenencias si es que hace falta hacer eso.
Ok.
You are not to possess any weapons or firearms.
No, I'm not possessed.
Le está prohibido poseer armas o armas de fuego.
No, no tengo ninguno.
Well, I don't have any.
Okay. And I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Y en este momento lo voy a poner bajo el Departamento de Libertad Provisional.
Ok.
Okay.
Sir, do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta sobre lo que le acabo de imponer?
No, todo está claro y bonito día, muchas gracias.
No, everything's clear. Thank you. Good
Okay.
day.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you have any questions?
Señora, ¿tiene usted alguna pregunta?
No.
No.
All right. Thank you.
Gracias.
We can go back on the headset. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Christian Rosa. Bien. Cristian Rosa Algarín.
Cristian Rosa Algarín.
This is 20 CF 11535. You were arrested for fleeing and eluding. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Sir, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Do you have any questions?
No.
No.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Any
Muy
conditions,
bien,
Your Honor?
gracias.
No. I'm sorry, sir. Did you say something?
No.
No.
All right, Mr. Interpreter. Thank you so much for your help today.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good morning. tell me your name?
Kenny Burgos.
Mr. Burgos, you're here in 20 CF 11499. You were arrested for battery by strangulation, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with the police to get your things if needed. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Mr. Burgos, I'm going to place you on pretrial release. Do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
Do I get to go home today? Or
I can't hear you.
do I get to go home today?
Do you get to go home today? Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions about anything that I've ordered?
I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
I said I'm sorry.
Did you say no?
I said I'm sorry.
You said you're sorry?
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you. Good morning, your name?
Lorraine Peters.
Mr. Peters, you are here in case number 20 CF 10383. You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for aggravated battery on a pregnant person and driving while license suspended. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in this case and also in the second case, which I'll address in a moment. In this case, your bond on count 1 is going to be $1,500. Bond on count 2 will be $150. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may go back one time with the police to get your things if needed. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have a question about that, sir?
Yeah, I was wondering because I know she was trying to come. She was trying to come here.
Okay, so she's not here today, so what I've ordered is not a final order. So that can be modified by the trial judge. Your lawyer can file a motion in Division 22 regarding the contact.
And I was wondering.
But now listen to me, you cannot call her from the jail to try to get in contact with her at all. You can't have any contact, do you understand? What you're signing there is the no contact order, and what it says is that this remains in effect until it is modified in writing. So I don't care what your lawyer says, I don't care what your girlfriend says. Until you have a piece of paper in your hand that says you can have contact, you are not allowed to. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say for the bond for the what it is for the battery. What is how much you said it was?
You have $1,500 on count 1 and $150 on count 2. You also have a second case, which is on a trespass on property after warning. There was pursuant to a probable cause warrant. Mr. Peters, do you want to resolve that case today?
Which case?
It's a trespass. It's 20 MM 5823. It's alleging that you trespassed at the Quick Stop on North Lane and Pine Hills Road on April 14th of 2020.
But how could I put it? I shouldn't be. I know I wasn't trespassed there.
Well,
I couldn't
maybe
be
you don't want to resolve it. There's a $100 bond on it, which you're welcome to bond
Okay.
out on it.
If I resolve, how much? Like, if I resolve it now, how long? How much would it be? Like, how much time served or what's what? Or would it be time? That's what I'm saying. Would it be time served or how
Ms.
long?
Bush, did you want to make an offer on the trespass?
Yes, Your Honor, if I can have a moment to.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
Just so you know, Mr. Peters, in the affidavit, it does allege that you were trespassed on June 22nd of 2019 and it expired on June 22nd of 2020.
Yeah, I know. I think I know that. I went to jail from there and they trespassed me, but my trespass should be up because it's over a year. So I'm like, how I got a trespass?
Well, you were never arrested on this case. This is your first time being to court on this case because they got a warrant.
No, when I went to jail last year in June, they trespassed me.
Right, I know, but this case that I'm talking to you about right now, They say it happened on April 14th, which was before the trespass expired. You wouldn't have known about it because you just got arrested for it today. They had a warrant.
They had a warrant for a trespass.
Correct.
That,
Happened in April.
but I was incarcerated.
Well, maybe you don't want to plea it.
April, wait, June, July, April.
April 14th of 2020.
Oh, this is it. No, I was still out. Yeah, I was out. I was out.
Okay. Ms. Bush, what was the offer?
It's an adjudication of guilt, 2 days, or credit time served. No contact with witnesses, no return to the quick stop at 5100 North Lane. Abide by all trespass warnings. And I'm not certain if a new trespass warning was issued in April.
Okay.
And there is a cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $112. And then court costs, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Peters, the offer is an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served. You can't go back to the quick stop. You have to pay court costs, which includes the cost of investigation of $112 to the Orlando Police Department. Did you want to resolve that trespass case today?
Yeah, I'll resolve it today.
Okay. Did you read the plea form?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about the constitutional rights you're giving up?
No.
Are you on probation?
No.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
All right, so I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served. Again, you'll have to pay the court costs, which will be due by September 24th of 2021. It will include the $112 to the Orlando Police Department, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing.
I was gonna say, for the bond, I was wondering, I'm trying to get out, but I don't know if I'll be able to like pay that bond. Is there any way I could get it lowered a little bit? Like good enough?
Mr. Peters, where do you work?
I'm not too sure if I still have my job, but I was working at Kenpack, the construction company. I'm trying to get back to it. He wanted me to try to handle this so I could try to hurry up and come back, but I don't know, it's been like a week or two now, so I'm not too sure if I still have my job, but
Where do you live?
I'm staying like room to room by my homeboy house in different spots.
Do you have any reason to leave the state of Florida or the Central Florida area?
No, ma'am.
What if I set your bond on count one at $1,000? Can you afford that?
$1,000? So I have to pay the 10%? Yes.
All right, sir. You need to contact the Public Defender's Office within 24 hours of your release from custody to update them on an address and or a good phone number where they can get in touch with you to make sure that you are at your next court date.
Okay. So, all right, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Willie Anderson is in the hospital.
Okay. I'll reset Mr. Anderson for 24 hours from his release from the hospital.
Eric Bartley, his behavior.
Find a waiver of Mr. Bartley's appearance based upon his inability to come to court due to his behavior in 20 MM 6958. He was arrested for battery, dating, violence. There is probable cause. I'm appointing the public defender to represent him. He's not to have any contact with the victim. He's to maintain a separate residence with a one-time return with the police to get his things. He is not to possess any weapons or firearms. He's also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription. Bond will be $500. I am revoking the bond in 20 CF 5335. That bond is going to be set at none. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Your name?
Gilbert Jacob.
Mr. Jacob, you're here in case number 20MM 6957. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may go back with the police one time to get your things if needed. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Mr. Jacob, do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that for me again?
So, the whole thing?
Yes, please.
Mr. Jacob, you can't have any contact with the victim. Do you understand?
Yes,
You are to maintain a separate residence. You can't live together,
yes,
okay? You can go back with the police one time to get your belongings, your personal belongings, with the police if you need to do that.
yes,
And you can't possess any weapons or firearms.
yes, ma'am.
You understand everything?
Yes.
Okay, sir. And I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
They put your ass?
You're going to be placed on pretrial release. So instead of having to post a monetary bond or money to get out of the jail, you're going to be supervised by a pretrial release officer until your case goes to court.
Yes.
You'll have to call in and check in, and they'll explain everything to you before you're released from the jail. But you'll be released today.
Thank you.
All right, sir? Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Johansson Wilmer Luna?
Mr. Luna, you are here in case number 20MM6961. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with your dad. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. If you need to go back to the house to get your things, you can do that one time with the police. You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you understand everything that I've explained?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Okay. Mr. Luna, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Okay,
Do you have any questions?
no questions.
All right, sir, thank you. Good morning.
How are you doing today, Your Honor?
Thank you. I'm good, sir. Thank you. Tell me your name.
Jean-Sebastian Palacio?
Mr. Palacio, you were here in 20MM6925. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, good morning.
Hi,
Tell me your name, please.
Shayna Vasquez.
Ms. Vasquez, do you want to have contact with Mr. Palacio?
Yes, please.
Yes?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez, I'll just have to ask you to move closer to the microphone so that we can all hear you.
Can
And
you
I
hear me
also
now?
need to have you put your mask on. I know it's uncomfortable, but if you can just come closer to the microphone? There you go. Okay, what was your answer? Did you want to have contact with him?
Yes, please.
And are you afraid of him?
No,
Do you live together?
we do.
Do you want to continue living together?
Yes.
How long have you been dating?
A year.
And during the course of your relationship, have there been any instances of violence between the two of you?
There has not.
Do you have any children in the home?
No,
Ms. Bush, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Bush, did you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Williams?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Palacio, you are not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Vasquez. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription. I will place you on pretrial release at this time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Ma'am, did you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, your name?
Joseph Bakari Sutton.
Mr. Sutton, you are here in case number 20MM4920. You were arrested for battery prior to, or pursuant to a probable cause warrant. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time with the police to get your things if needed. And you're not to possess any weapons or firearms.
Okay.
Mr. Sutton, do you have any questions about the no contact order?
I had a question, but it wasn't about the no contact order.
Okay.
There was I know, you guys advised us not to talk, but I really
don't
was.
want you to
Sutton?
talk about the facts of your case.
My name is Brianna Williams, and I'm an attorney at the Public Defender's Office. Do you want to tell me that question first so that I could see
Yes,
if it's something the
please.
judge can
Wait,
answer?
wait.
I thought she wanted me to
No,
come to
you can't move from where you're at.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. 'cause
You're
that-
welcome, sir.
thank you.
Did you get your question answered?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. And then, Mr. Tolbert, your bond will be $500. Do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered? I mean, Mr. Sutton, I'm sorry.
No, ma'am. How much would I have to pay to get out, though?
That's a question you'll have to ask the bondsman or your lawyer. Typically,
Okay.
it's 10%, but I can't be certain.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, Mr.
Your
Sutton.
Honor? For some reason, I think I misheard. I thought he was being released on pretrial services, a pretrial release. Is that not correct?
Mr. Sutton, no.
Is it, would Your Honor allow me to inquire as to his ability to post a bond as well as ties to the community and things like that, Your Honor?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, Mr.
Do you
Sutton?
want to swear him in?
Yes.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Sutton, is there, at this time, are you working?
No, ma'am.
And do you have any other income besides work?
No, ma'am.
And is there anyone that can help you post a bond in this case?
No.
Like a friend or family member?
No.
Do you have any assets that you can use to assist with posting a bond? And how long have you lived in Orlando?
Almost 2 years now.
2 years, you said?
Yes.
And where will you live if you were to be released?
I was living at 1029
You
Paramore.
don't have to put your address
Oh,
on the record, just let me know if you'll live here in Orlando or somewhere
Yes,
else.
here in Orlando. My address is here in Orlando, 1029 Paramore,
You-
apartment B.
Again, you don't have to put your address on the
Oh, okay.
record. So, and do you have any friends or family members that live here in Orlando?
Yes.
And who are those people?
Well, I have a cousin, but I wouldn't stay with him. I would stay by myself where I was, someone's giving me the apartment to stay at this whole time. 'Cause
Do you
I have a
have-
son here, so,
You said you have a son here?
yeah, my son's here, so.
How old is that son?
He's 11 now. He
And
comes to visit me every
Do
now
you
and
support,
then, so.
do you support that son financially?
No, his mother supports me and him. She pays for the person to let me stay at that apartment so I can watch my son.
Is
That's
there-
where I was staying at when I got well, I just went to go see Beverly when I got arrested.
Got it, Mr.
But I
Sutton.
was living at 1029.
Got it, Mr. Sutton. And so at this time, is there any amount of bond that you can post?
I don't have any money, I never do.
Your Honor, if the court will allow, the defense would like to request Mr. Sutton be released on pretrial release. At this time, it's clear that he cannot afford to post any bond in this case, or any monetary bond in this case.
Ms. Bush, did you want to be heard at all?
Yes, Your Honor. And I do have one question for Mr. Sutton. Mr.
ma'am.
Sutton, when you were interviewed, you said that you were working part-time. Is that correct?
At KBI staffing, but I was told recently that that's not considered a job, and I don't have funds now, so that's not considered a job, they said, because it's not
So
consistent.
you do work for KBI Staffing? Is that correct?
Not after this, I don't. Not after this, because.
Up until you were arrested, you were working for KBI Staffing. You got jobs through KBI Staffing, is that correct?
Yes, but I was told it wasn't a job by the people in the jail here. They said that's not considered downstairs in pretrial. They told me,
Yes, sir, thank you.
That there wasn't
I
considered
just
job.
wanted a response to the question
Yes,
about
ma'am.
KBI Staffing. And Mr. Sutton, you said that, and I said I had one question, but I have one more question. You said that you had relatives in Central Florida, a cousin that you don't live with, I believe the mother of your son,
yeah,
and the mother of your son pays your expenses?
yes, ma'am. That's what I was trying to
Okay.
say. Yes, ma'am.
And I have no further questions, thank you. Your Honor, the state does have an argument
Sure, go ahead, Ms. Bush.
based on his criminal history, which has, seems to be quite a bit of domestic violence, Florida criminal history, arrest for domestic battery, strangulation, domestic assault, domestic battery, domestic tampering with a witness, domestic aggravated battery, out-of-state convictions, false imprisonment. firearm carried without a license, aggravated assault ×2, tampering with evidence, and simple assault ×2, stalking, intimidation of witness or victims. Your Honor, the state feels that bond plus pretrial release would be reasonable in this case, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may the defense respond? Sure. As we know, for the crime for which Mr. Sutton is charged, he is entitled to a bond. And based on the information that Mr. Sutton provided to us today, any monetary bond acts as no bond in this case. And on that basis, the defense would ask the court to release him on pretrial release.
I'm gonna leave the bond set as is at $500 or pretrial release if he qualifies. If the folks in pretrial can get him qualified, then I have no objection to that. But I'm gonna leave the bond as set. Thank you, sir. Good morning, your name?
Good morning. My name is Sidney Locke.
Shirley Hanson bonded, Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Locke. You are here in case number 20CT 5912. You were arrested for DUI over .15. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, sir.
Okay.
You are not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription, and your bond is $500.
Yes, ma'am. And I don't have no bond. I mean, I don't have nobody to get me out right now, ma'am. And I also would like to say that I'm a single father of a 6-year-old, and I also coach Little League football. And I got my son's mom lives up in Milwaukee, and she's only here. She came in yesterday, and she's only gonna be here for 3 days.
All right, Mr. Let me just stop you right there. Let me just ask you a couple of questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you live here in Orlando?
Yes, ma'am.
How long
I live in Kissimmee, actually.
Okay, Central Florida.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you lived there?
Pretty much my whole life, between here and Gainesville.
Okay, where do you work?
I don't work.
Okay,
My job closed down in May of last year.
okay. Do you have any reason to be leaving the Central Florida area?
Leaving?
Yes.
Do I have any reason for leaving the Central Florida area? No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any family members here?
No, ma'am.
Just your, did you say your
A son. I got a
son?
6-year-old son.
Okay, does he live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you said his mom just came to town?
She just came to town, but she's leaving on Saturday. She lives up in Milwaukee. She just came down for the weekend to see him because she haven't seen him like maybe twice this whole year.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I don't see any reason why you would not qualify for pretrial release. I know he wasn't interviewed.
Yeah, he would just need to be interviewed, but it looks like he would qualify. Your
Okay, so
Honor.
Mr. Luck, based on what you've provided, the information you've provided to me in court today, I'm gonna order you on pretrial release.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, sir, you're welcome.
And Your Honor, could we have a do not drive without a valid driver's license? I believe the driver's license on DUI is temporarily suspended, his driving privileges.
Mr. Locke, you are not to drive without a valid driver's license, you understand?
Okay. Could I ask a question?
Sure.
How do I get that taken care of? Like, I have to pay a fine to get that taken care
So
of?
here's my advice on that. When you get out, if you go online to the Highway Safety of Motor Vehicles page, you can type in your driver's license number and it will bring up any tickets that you have or any suspensions that are on your license. And if you click on it, it'll tell you what you need to do
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be able to reinstate your license.
Okay, thank you. Because
Okay.
like I said, I'm a single dad and I have to take my son to school. I take him
Sure.
to school in Point Santa. And-
You're gonna wanna call the public defender though as soon as you're released because there's some collateral consequences related to a DUI and your driver's license that happen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So call them right when you get out,
Okay.
okay? Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
George Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, Sir, you are here in 20 CT 1144. You were arrested for DUI. There is,
Yes.
Stop talking.
Oh, stop talking? Or-
so Mr. Thomas, I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just telling you what you were arrested for, okay?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So you were arrested for DUI. There's probable cause for the offense. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you.
I'd rather represent myself.
Okay? That can be determined at a later date. I won't appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Thomas, you are interrupting me, and I don't like that.
I'm sorry. I've never been to court before.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Here's the deal. Let me finish telling you what I need to tell you, and then I promise I'll give you an opportunity to talk,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Yes.
So when you go to your arraignment on this case, the judge is gonna ask you either you need to bring a lawyer with you, or at that time, the judge will determine whether or not you can represent yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond is going to be $500. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Now, did you have a question?
It says on my paperwork, so my girlfriend and I got
on, Mr.
into a
Thomas, wait,
fight.
hold on, Mr.
It's-
Thomas. No,
It
no,
says on my
stop.
paperwork,
No, no.
I was arrested in my drive, I'm sorry,
Mr.
in my
Thomas, here's what I want
driveway.
to tell you. Listen to me. I know you've never been here before. Stop talking. Listen. Everything in this room is recorded right now and can be used against you later. What you're trying to talk to me about are the facts of your case, right? I'm not here to talk about the facts of your case today. That's something that you need to talk with a lawyer about and about what the consequences are. Like I said, I'm not commenting on what's in the police report. That's for another day.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
You will have every chance to dispute whatever you want to dispute in the report.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So
Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me your name.
Tamika Tolbert.
Ms. Tolbert, you are here in case number 17 CT 332. You failed to appear for sentencing. I spoke with Judge Jewett this morning, and I don't know if Ms. Williams, you want to take a moment to speak with her on this case. He indicated to me that if she wanted to resolve the case today, that it would be time served, court cost, and the $50 cost of prosecution to the state if she wanted to resolve the case. She'd already entered a plea earlier this year. And I have her driving record. Well, she already entered the plea, so she was just supposed to come back for sentencing.
Yes, Your Honor. If you would allow me 1 minute just
Sure.
to speak with her briefly about what's going on.
Yeah, take your time.
Thank you.
I guess the idea was that she was going to get a driver's license, but I have her driving record here if you want to approach, if you want to look at that.
I don't need to at this time. Would Your Honor let me know if she has a valid license?
She does not. How many days does Ms. Holbert have?
2 days, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
Defense has been able to speak with Ms. Tolbert, and I believe she's willing to proceed at this time.
Okay. So, Ms. Tolbert, it appears that you already entered a plea to this case.
This is your case.
Oh, there we go. Back on March 12th of this year in 2020, You pled to the offense of no valid driver's license, and I just reviewed your driver record, and you still don't have a driving record. So at this time, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days time served. You'll have to pay court costs, including the $50 cost of prosecution, which will be due by September 24th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, ma'am.
So does that mean I gotta do 2 more days or?
No.
I,
So you'll be released as to this case. I don't know what other holds you may have.
He doesn't have any holds.
So you'll be released today.
Can I say something? Am I allowed?
And Your Honor, does that include that she does not drive without a valid driver's license since her license is not valid at this time?
Yes. Ms. Tolbert, you understand you can't drive without a valid driver's license?
Yes, ma'am, but when I got arrested, I seen that someone else has been using my license.
Okay, so you're gonna wanna talk to a lawyer about that, or maybe call the Orange County Bar Association and see if they might be able to give you some, point you in the right direction as to who you need to talk to, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, good morning, your name?
Pablo Juan Burgos, JR 205 1991.
I have Jonathan Mercado. Okay, that's 20 CT 5727. Ms. Williams, you represent Mr. Mercado. Did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Just one moment, Your Honor, I'm just searching for where we are.
Arraignment
This is the arraignment.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm willing to waive arraignment and keep the plea of not guilty in place and set him for pretrial conference.
Sure. So this is going to be Division 83, that's Judge Bain. Which pretrial conference date are we using for Judge Bain? 26. Okay. Pretrial conference will be October 26th at 9 a.m., courtroom 6C. Bradley Rashid Okari.
Medical.
That's 20 mm 5981. Ms. Williams, you represent him as well. Did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor, and set this case for pretrial conference, please.
Okay. And Bradley is the last name, I think. So that's going to be Division 80, Judge Gibson, pretrial conference, November 10th, 9 a.m., courtroom 9C. Juan Pablo Burgos. Is that you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, good morning. This is case number 20MM6230. This is your arraignment for trespass on property other than a structure or a conveyance. You are represented by Ms. Williams, and how would he like to proceed?
Your Honor, at this time, I don't believe that there is an offer in this case. The state's offer is an adjudication of guilt, 5 days OCJ. I believe he might have, or he already has 5 days credit, or more than 5 days credit.
He has 30
I'm
days.
sorry, Your Honor. Is this Mr. Burgos?
Correct.
I apologize to Ms. Williams. The sheet that I sent was incorrect. I actually have this down as no offer, private residence, handle and trial division. And I inadvertently left something from the prior offers on the offer sheet, Your Honor. So there is no offer from the state.
Okay.
At this time, we'd like to just waive arraignment and set this case for pretrial conference, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Burgos, you are going to be in Division 80. Pretrial conference is November 10th at 9 a.m. in courtroom 9C.
I get out today, ma'am?
If you post if you have a bond and you post it, I don't know what other holds you have.
So I gotta wait to next court day?
Your Honor,
Yes.
Because my mother, she's my guardian, and I'm having this problem that when I go over there to ask her for
Mr. Burgos?
stuff, information.
My name is Brianna Williams, and I'm an attorney at the Public Defender's Office. Now, I'm not your attorney on your case, but I just want to let you know that we don't talk about the facts of what led to your arrest, okay? We don't want to talk about that right now. Your Honor, are you willing or able to hear a motion for ROR at this time?
Please.
I cannot. A bond motion would have to be filed because this is arraignment.
I do apologize, Your Honor, if it's not proper at this time.
Ms. Bush, has there been any contact with the victim, with your office?
If I'm remembering correctly, there has been, if I may have just a moment.
Sure.
I'll check this date.
Does Mr. Burgos have any other holds?
No, Your Honor, he doesn't.
So,
Because it's my understanding that that is who the victim is his mother.
I'm going to read the affidavit.
And there have been prior trespass warnings. And yes, Your Honor, as recently as the 15th of September, she called and said she wanted to proceed. I was not able between yesterday and today to get in touch with her to see if she wanted to be in court this morning.
Does Mr. Burgos have a bond on his case?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. It's $500. $500.
Ms. Williams, if Mr. Burgos wants to plead to the court at this time, I would take a plea to the bench.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, with the, actually, may I take a moment to speak with him briefly?
And Your Honor, the state just puts on the record that the victim has the right to be heard, the victim has the right to be present, and the victim did, on the 15th of September, say that she wished to proceed with the case, Your Honor.
When did these arraignments get set? When was this arraignment date set? Can you tell me that? Do you know?
I get my docket 24 hours before. So I don't know when they're set, but I get the docket 24 hours before. I got this docket yesterday.
Okay.
I got the docket on Tuesday evening, Your Honor.
It was set on the 22nd?
And for the record, Your Honor, his last two adjudications of guilt were in May of this year for trustee.
Because at this time, I don't feel comfortable going forward. And so, in answer to your specifically, I have to tell the sure that you do it. So what I'm gonna do.
Ms. Williams, you could also file a bond motion.
I will.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Burgos. I'm going to give you a court date. This is going to be in Division 80. Pretrial conference is November 10th at 9 a.m., courtroom 9C. Thank you, sir.
Can I please say something? My mother, she's my guardian, and this is been going on for
I know,
a while.
Mr. Burgos,
And
I can't help you with that problem. That's something you have to talk
I
with your lawyer
understand,
about.
man, but I can't just keep getting locked up just for my money.
You
and
can't
that's the
keep
only
going to
thing
her
that I have.
house.
No, I understand that. I understand
Mr.
that.
Burgos,
They told me that
Thank you.
I was gonna call the cops and I had to take
Mr.
my
Burgos?
property out
Right.
of the
Listen,
house.
Listen, this is something you have to talk with your lawyer about, and they can help you come up with a plan so that this doesn't keep happening.
Okay.
Okay?
So, we'll
And
have
your lawyer's
another
gonna
court
file a
date?
motion for you. Thank you, Mr. Burgos.
Okay.
Hold on, Giselle. Hold on.
Mr. Houston,
Medical, Your Honor.
that's 20 MM 6190. Ms. Williams, did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Houston's going to be in Division 80, pretrial conference, November 10th at 9 a.m. in courtroom 9C.
Carlton Jackson, Medical.
That's 20 MM 469. Again, Ms. Williams, did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson is going to be in Division 80, pretrial conference, November 10th at 9 a.m. Oh, is he rotation?
Yeah, Caleb's in your division, right?
Right, scratch that. He's going to be in Division 62, pretrial conference, November 12th at 9 a.m., courtroom 9B. And Tomika Johnson? 20 CT 812. Tamika Johnson. Ms. Williams, did you want to enter a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's also in the rotation division, Division 62, Judge Cameron, pretrial conference, November 12th at 9 a.m., courtroom 9B. All right. Sir, tell me your name.
Cabrera, yes, sir.
Did you say Yasel Cabrera?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Cabrera, just, you can back up a little bit from the
Okay,
microphone. Thank
that's
you.
good.
Yes, it is. Mr. Cabrera, this is a plea from Osceola County in 19 MM 4083.
Your Honor, may the state have just one moment to switch to that docket?
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem.
And Your Honor, this was Mr. Cabrera, correct?
Correct. It's an Osceola County plea. Mr. Cabrera, Judge Epperson in Osceola County has approved a plea of an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, and court costs. This would be a plea to the offense of petty theft, a first-degree misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 1 year in the county jail, 1 year of probation, and a $1,000 fine. Did you wish to change your plea of not guilty and enter a plea of no contest today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that you're going to have to go resolve your case in Osceola County.
In Osceola County?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. And then Alberto Vargas.
Medical, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, Mr. Krejci, I don't know if I'm saying that right with your office, KREJCI, Stephen.
That is the correct pronunciation, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
That's the correct pronunciation, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, thank you. If you'll just let him know that this case needs to be reset, again, you could maybe see if you can coordinate it in the Polycom docket.
I can.
Or if he gets cleared, you can set it on my docket.
I can do that, Your Honor.
Okay. Let me take that back with me. Okay. And then, Ms. Bush, just let me know when you're ready on the 33-day motion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Tell me your name, please.
Gretchen Bossert.
Ms. Bossert, you are here in case number 20MM 6960. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. If you need a one-time return to the property to get your things, you may do so. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. And your bond is $500, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I understand all that, but here's the thing. I just shut a door. Like, I don't understand
Ms.
how there's
Boucher?
probable cause for harming a woman I wasn't trying to harm.
I understand.
Ms. Bouchard, my name is Brianna Williams. I'm an attorney at the Public Defender's Office. I just want to let you know that this whole hearing is being recorded, and any statements that you make could be used against you.
Sure.
So right now, Judge Carter does not want to hear about the facts of your case.
Okay.
She's just discussing whether or not there's a bond and letting you know the charges in this case, okay?
Okay.
If you have any defenses, an attorney from my office will speak to you about them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. How do I gain access to the residence to get my stuff?
So,
Ms. Bossert, I need you to pull your mask up for me, please. Thank you.
just Ms. Bouchard, is that correct? So Judge Carter will give you some directions about the conditions of your release in just a moment.
Thank you.
So, as I said, you can't have any contact with the victim, you are not to return to the scene, and you cannot possess any weapons or firearms. All right, you'll be able to talk with the public defender who's appointed to represent you about what potential defenses you may have. I'm not saying what's in the police report's true. I'm just telling you what they arrested you for.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Judge, did you set her bond?
500.
What happens if I don't pay that?
Do you have the ability to post that bond?
I don't. They wouldn't give me my phone to make a phone call even. I don't have any telephone numbers. I have no way to call my record label, nothing.
Will Your Honor allow me to inquire about her ability to post a bond as well as connections to the community?
Sure.
All right, Ms. Bouchard, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. First question is, do you have an amount of bond that you can post?
No, they took my wallet. I have no keys. They didn't give me, the cop intentionally wouldn't let me bring anything with me.
Do you have a credit card that you can use with money on it that you can use to post a bond?
No, ma'am.
And at this time, are you working?
I'm just now coming out of the pandemic. Yes, I'm a realtor, but I don't close for another probably 30 days, the house that I have listed, so.
So are you paid weekly, bi-weekly, or is it just by house?
No, it's by house. It doesn't work like that. It sometimes, I mean, it's not been 9 months since any of us have been to work. Even I'm also a stand-up comedian as well, but we've been out of work for 9 months.
Is there anyone that you can call to assist you with posting the
There
bond?
could,
Like a
but
friend or family member?
they wouldn't give me my phone to get a telephone number to call to make those calls. So I don't know what to do.
Do you have any assets that you can use to assist with
No,
posting a
ma'am.
bond? And how long have you lived in Orlando?
Well, I've been in Florida 30 years. I'm from Osceola County, so I've been in Orlando probably a couple of months. My office is in Leesburg, my real estate office in Lake County.
Do you have any friends or family members that live here?
Jesse, who's in and out, but he's in New York right now, so
Who is Jesse?
I guess my boyfriend.
All right. Any other friends or family members?
In Orlando? Yeah, every stand-up comedian in Orlando is a friend of mine. They're all broke. They probably couldn't help me with this situation.
Ms.
But
Bosser, I'm going to place you on pretrial release. Thank you.
thank you so much, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Anthony Dumas.
Mr. Dumas. Oh, we don't have it? Okay. Just get. Mr. Dumas, you are here in case number 20MM6946. You were arrested for petty theft.
Yes, ma'am.
There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Dumas?
No, Your Honor, because this is enhanceable.
Okay. Mr. Dumas, can I get a face sheet? Oh, actually, I do have that, but I didn't have the paperwork. Mr. Dumas, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. At this time, you are not to return to Walmart. You are to appear at all court dates. You need to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail.
Say that again, man. I ain't understand you.
Sure. I'm releasing you today on your own recognizance.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to appear at your court date. You cannot return to the Walmart, and you need to call your lawyer within 24 hours of release from the jail.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Ms. Grievous is medical.
All right, that's 20 MM 6929. Ms. Williams, I'm going to appoint you to represent her. Did you want to waive her appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
She was arrested for petty theft. There is probable cause. She's not to return to Leo's Diner, and her bond is $250. Good afternoon. Your name?
Sonny Joseph Ramirez.
Ma'am, you were here in 20 MM 6928. You were arrested for trespassing. There is probable cause. Is there an offer for Ms. Joseph Ramirez?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, no return to the scene. I believe there's no contact with the
Witnesses?
witnesses or the co-defendants. No further sanctions.
Ma'am, did you want to accept the offer?
Yes, I'm just a little confused with the no contact with.
You what?
The part where she says no contact with someone? I don't understand that part.
No contact. I think it probably says with the witnesses. Is that
I believe it's actually the Best Western manager, Your Honor.
right? Which would be the witness?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Are you reading Ms. Bush's notes?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought so. Ms. Joseph Ramirez, did you read the plea form before court?
Is he? Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form?
No.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
No. I'm fine.
You understand?
I understand that.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail. You have credit for 2 days time served. You can't go back to the Best Western, ma'am. You've been trespassed from there or have contact with the person who works there. You'll have to pay court costs. Your court costs are due by September 24th of 2021, so 1 year from today. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. Thank you, ma'am.
Did they get released today? Today?
Eddie King, Your Honor, refused.
I'm going to find a waiver of Mr. King's appearance in 20 MM 6962. Based upon his inability to come to court due to his behavior, there's probable cause for trespassing on property after warning. He's not to return to the Parliament House. His bond is $500. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Stephen Matthew Marshall Jr., ma'am.
Mr. Marshall, you're here in case number 20 MM 246. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause. Is there an offer for Mr. Marshall?
Your Honor, the state's offer would be an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and no return.
All right. Mr. Marshall, did you want to accept that offer today?
Yes, ma'am,
Okay. Did you read the plea form before court?
I sure did.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights you're giving up?
No. I guess I've been trespassed. It was 15 years ago. I don't really remember it, but yeah, I was
Okay,
on.
so basically the plea form says that you're going to give up your right to have a trial by a jury. You're going to give up your right to make the state of Florida prove that you committed this crime. Do you understand you're giving up that right today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so this case will be over,
Yeah.
okay? Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail. You have credit for 2 days, or 1 day in jail. You have credit for 1 day time served. You're not to return to any of the UCF properties, and you'll have to pay court costs, which will be due by September 24th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing.
All right.
Thank you. afternoon, sir. Your name?
Kevin Sishmo.
What is it?
Kevin Sishmo.
All right. Sir, you were here in 20 MM 6959. You were arrested for resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Was there an offer for Mr. Richmond?
No, Your Honor.
So your bond is going to be $500. I'm going to revoke the bond in MM 6947. That bond will be set at none. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Smith, you were here in 20 MM 3836. You failed to appear for pretrial conference. You also have 20 MO 942. You were arrested for open container. There's probable cause for that. Ms. Honeymeyer, did you have an offer on the trespass case?
Your Honor, it looks like the offer is an adjudication 19 days, with credit for 19 days, no return, no contact with the witness, and then there's cost of investigation of $160.44 to the Orlando Police Department.
Okay. And then do you have an offer on the open container?
Would be credit time served, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, did you want to accept those offers this afternoon?
Yes, ma'am. That means that I get out today?
It would,
Okay, yes, ma'am.
unless you have any other holds. I don't know if, I'm not going to take any action on your petty theft case, but I don't know if you have any other holds. Does he have anything else?
Just the 2 cases in the out on bond, that's it.
Okay, so this would release you today.
All right, thank you.
Did you have a chance to read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights that you'll be giving up today?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, I will, in 20 MM 3836, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 19 days in jail. You have 19 days time served. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the witnesses. You'll have to pay your court costs, which will include $160.44 cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department. And in 20 MO 942, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days time served. You'll also have to pay court costs in that case. All of your costs will be due by September 24th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court
Can I
in
ask you a
writing.
real quick question?
Sure.
I'm out on bond. Matt Morgan has me out on bond, so I'm still okay to leave then tonight.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon. Your name?
Tamesia Moore.
Ms. Moore, you're here in 20 MO 941. You were arrested for disorderly conduct.
Yes, ma'am.
There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is going to be $500. You're not to have any contact with any of the witnesses. And I'm going to revoke the bond in 19 CF 16050. That's going to be set at none.
So you said no bond?
Right.
So I have no bond?
That's correct.
I can't get out today?
No, you'll have to have your lawyer file a bond motion in Division 14. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Robert Andrew Aponte.
How about Ms. Alger?
Miss Alger refused.
She refused. I'll take care of her in just a second. Mr. Aponte, good afternoon. You are here in case number 20 CF 11545. You were arrested for driving while license suspended as a habitual offender and 2 counts of violation of a pretrial release condition. This was pursuant to a probable cause warrant. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 will be set at $2,500. Bond on count 2 will be set at $100. I will stay the bond on count 3 at $250. You are not to drive without a valid driver's license. I am revoking the bond in 20 CF 4136. That bond will be set at none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And then for Kaylee Elger, that was a refusal.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to find a waiver of her appearance based upon her refusal to come to court in 20 CF 11482. She was arrested for possession of fentanyl and possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent her. Her bond is $1,000 on count 1, $150 on count 2, and I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Good afternoon, your name?
Tim came in Beecham.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Defense has one PC challenge for this case.
Sure. Let me just call the case and then you can make your argument.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is 20 CF 11546. Mr. Beecham, you were arrested for trafficking in cocaine greater than 400 grams, trafficking in fentanyl 4 grams or more, trafficking in heroin greater than 28 grams, possession of heroin with intent to sell or deliver, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, driving while license suspended, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, possession of cannabis, and then Ms. Williams, what's your probable cause challenge?
So my probable cause challenge has to do with the count of possession of fentanyl.
Okay, so count 2?
Yes.
Okay.
I did not see any facts in the affidavit to indicate that he did possess fentanyl. I don't know if the state can chime in to let me know if they were able to see that.
Your Honor, I've done a quick scan of the affidavit, but I did not see fentanyl specifically listed. It was cannabis, cocaine, and heroin are all listed. The state would request 24 hours on that charge to reach out to the officer and see if it was a mistake or to provide a supplemental report regarding the fentanyl.
Okay. I will grant your request for the 24 hours. Ms. Williams, based upon the facts in the affidavit, I would set bond accordingly based upon the facts in the affidavit if you wanted to withdraw your probable cause challenge. And otherwise, I'm going to reset the case for tomorrow.
At this time, I'd like to withdraw the probable cause challenge.
Okay. So bond on count 1 will be stayed at $250,000. I'm going to ROR him on count 2. Bond on count 3 will be $100,000. Bond on count 4, $15,000. Bond on count 5, $15,000. Bond on count 6, $100. Bond on count 7, $150. Bond on count 8, $150. Sir, you are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. And you're not to have any contact with your co-defendant. I'm revoking the bonds in 20 CF 289 and 20 CF 235. Those will be set at none. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me. Can I find out what bonds you're talking about?
Pardon me?
Well, which bonds are you revoking?
You're out on bond cases. You were out on bond on 2 different cases, and so I revoked those. So you'll have to have your lawyer file a bond motion in the division where in front of the trial judge.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Brandon Matthew Bryant.
What is it?
Brandon Matthew Bryant.
Okay, Mr. Bryant, thank you. I'll need you to keep your mask up the whole time, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I know sometimes it's hard to talk, but we just have to do that to keep everybody safe. This is 20 CF 11530. You were arrested for grand theft, 3rd degree. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the Walmart. Your bond, sir, is going to be $1,000, and then I'm revoking the bond in 20 CF 6967. That'll be set at none, and I'm not going to take any action on the county ordinance case. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Matthew Byers.
Mr. Byers, you were here in 20 CF 11533. You were arrested for burglary of an occupied conveyance and for petty theft. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. Your bond is going to be $2,500 on count 1, $100 on count 2. Is there any reason why we couldn't resolve the out on bond case today?
Your Honor, give me, I'm so sorry. Can I see if there's an offer in the?
Sure.
Your Honor, it looks like the offer that was conveyed back in June was an adjudication, court costs, and a letter of apology with community service hours, but the state would drop the community service hours.
Okay. So it's an adjudication, credit time served, and then a letter of apology?
Yes, Your Honor. One to Antonio James, who would be the officer.
Correct. All right, Mr. Byers, did you want to resolve your resisting officer without violence case today?
Yes, I do want to resolve it. What is,
The resolution?
yes,
It would be an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, and you have to write a letter of apology to the police officer.
to the police officer? Okay, so what does that all that mean? Just, I'm sorry.
So this case, the resisting officer without violence case would be over today. You'd be
Okay.
adjudicated guilty, you have to pay court costs, and you have to write a letter to the police officer apologizing for your behavior.
Is there any way I can get time served? Because I was in jail a long time, you know,
I
for
already
that.
told you that. You are.
Okay. Yeah, I agree to that. I agree to that.
Okay. In 30 days and provide proof to the clerk of the letter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Byers, did you have a chance to read the plea form before court?
No, I did not.
Well, please take a look at that right now.
Okay.
Let me know when you're finished and if you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights that you're giving up.
I don't have any questions.
All right, sir, are you on probation?
No, I'm on.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
I'm a U.S. citizen.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
All right, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty. How many days does Mr. Byers have?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't have that information.
Okay.
Give me one moment.
Well, I'll sentence you to 1 day in jail with credit for 1 day time served since he's been held on this case since his arrest. Mr. Byers, you are going to have to write an apology letter to Antonio James.
Okay.
This is a different case. With the Apopka Police Department.
Okay.
You need to provide proof of completion within 30 days, and you will file a copy of that with the clerk of the court. Okay? And you can contact the public defender's office to be able to assist you with that.
Okay.
All right? You will have to pay court costs, which will be due by September 24th of 2021, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, sir.
If I'm in jail and I have to write a
You have to write it from here,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Anthony Crosby.
What is it?
Anthony Crosby.
Mr. Crosby, you are here, sir, in case number 20 CF 11483. You were arrested for possession of a controlled substance without a valid prescription. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in that case, as well as the over-the-line arrest, which is an Osceola County case where you were arrested for fleeing and eluding and for driving without a valid driver's license. In the Orange County case, 20 CF 11483, your bond is going to be $150. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Actually, on the Orange County case, I'm going to put you on pretrial release with the same condition. And then in the Osceola County case, on the fleeing and eluding, your bond will be $2,500, and the driving without a valid driver's license, your bond will be $100.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, thank you.
Ms. Doherty is medical, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Williams, I will appoint your office to represent Mr. Doherty. Did you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's 20 CF 11529. He was arrested for grand theft third degree. There's probable cause. The public defender has been appointed. He is not to return to Home Depot. Bond is $500. Good afternoon. Your name?
Elvis Felix?
Elvis Felix?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you are here in 20 CF 6031. You failed to appear for court on September 11th. Your bond is $5,000. I will appoint the public defender to represent you, and I'm not going to take any action on your pretrial diversion case.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Pete Hall.
Mr. Hall, this is 20 CF 11536. You were arrested for trafficking in heroin greater than 400 grams, trafficking in fentanyl 4 grams or more, trafficking in heroin greater than 28 grams, possession of heroin with intent to sell or deliver, possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, resisting officer without violence, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, and possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams. Ms. Williams, did you want to make the same challenge as to count 2? This is the co-defendant to the prior case we had regarding the fentanyl.
I can just have one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Can I see that paperwork? Do you remember the co-defendant?
Mr. Beecham. Mr. Beecham.
Yes, Your Honor, defense would like to make the same challenge as I made in, I believe, in Mr.
Beecham.
Beecham's case.
Yes. All right, Mr. Hall, the court will set bond on count 1 at $250,000. You will be RLR'd on count 2. Count 3, I will set bond at $100,000. Count 4, $15,000. Count 5, $15,000. Count 6, $100,000. Count 7, $150,000. Count 8, $150,000. You're not to have any contact with your co-defendant, and you are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, sir.
Ma'am, I
Mr. Hall, I'm not saying that it's yours or not yours. I'm just telling you what you were charged with, okay?
I'm
Your
just
lawyer will come talk
saying.
to you.
Mr. Hall, I'm
Thank
with
you,
the
sir.
Public Defender's Office, and one of my attorneys will be in touch with you, typically within 72 hours, to talk to you about your case in the blue box, okay? And you'll talk to them about defenses.
Thank you.
All right?
Mr. Hughes, you got to keep your mask up, please.
Sorry.
That's okay.
What do I say?
You don't really have to say anything.
Yeah, I just speak or
Mr. Harrison, Mr. Hughes, just keep your face back. You are Harrison Hughes, correct? Okay. This is 20 CF 1479. You were arrested for possession of a controlled substance and for loitering or prowling. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Hughes, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. You are going to be subject to random urinalysis testing. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Do you need me to speak into this?
You can just speak right there and I can hear you.
Does pretrial release mean I go back to my house?
They're going to explain everything to you before you're released and what your requirements are and how you'll be tested. Okay?
Yes,
It looks
ma'am.
like you do have a jack hold, though.
A what?
A juvenile assessment, a
Oh,
juvenile
yeah,
hold.
they were talking to me about that. My detective that was talking with me came in, the day of, and then he said he'd talk with me after this one.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're all finished. Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. Tell me your name, please.
Michael Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, you're here in 20 CF 11507. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Johnson, your bond is $1,500, sir.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I was arrested when for possession of cocaine?
You were arrested. Did they come off the bond on this? Is that what this is for?
No, it was an add-on charging affidavit.
Yeah, it looks like you were this happened on September 8th.
Possession of cocaine?
Mm-hmm. Right, it's related to another case where I don't know what the charges are. I'm thinking it was possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
Yeah, I know.
And so
So-
now they've added the second charge on. They didn't indicate it was an add-on. I'll set bond at $150, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Philip Lucas.
Mr. Lucas, you're here in 19 CF 12659, sir. You failed to appear for court on August 24th of this year. At this time, your bond, sir, is set at none. I will appoint the public defender if they were not previously appointed, and you will need to have your lawyer file a bond motion in Division 14.
My lawyer?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Anthony McQuestion.
Mr. McQuestion, you're here in 20 CF 11538. You were arrested for possession of cocaine, possession of Xanax, possession of oxycodone, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $500. Your bond on counts 2 and 3 is $150. Your bond on count 4 is $100. Your bond on count 5 is $100. Thank you, sir.
Jonathan Ricardo is medical, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Williams, I will appoint your office to represent him. Did you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That's 20 CF 11549. Mr. Mercado was arrested for altering or destroying or concealing evidence, trafficking in methamphetamine 14 grams or more, and providing false ID to law enforcement. There is probable cause. He's not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Bond on count 1 is $150. Bond on count 2 is $50,000. Bond on count 3 is $100. Good afternoon, your name?
How you doing?
Tell me your name, sir.
Nathan Mesmer.
Mr. Messner, you are here in case number 20 CF 8484. You were arrested for pursuant to a probable cause warrant for fleeing and eluding and driving while license suspended with knowledge. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 will be $5,000. Your bond on count 2 will be $150. I am revoking the bonds in 20 CF 3549 and 20 CF 355. Looks like
Excuse me.
6.
That wasn't even, that wasn't even me driving.
That's a defense, sir, and you're going to have to raise that at your trial. But today
But-
I'm just setting your conditions of release.
Can I get,
Mr. Messner?
keep my bonds?
No, sir, you cannot. Thank you.
An attorney from my office will be in touch with you, okay, to talk about a bond.
Good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Byron Munoz.
Mr. Munoz, you're here in 20 CF 11539. You were arrested for possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver with a weapon, possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams with a weapon, and possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams. I do find probable cause and will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $150, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Your name?
Jeremy Neely, ma'am.
Mr. Neely, you are here in 20 CF 11527. You were arrested for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is going to be
$4,000.
$2,500. I'm revoking the bonds in 20 CF 3813 and 20 CF 4203. Those will be set at none. Thank you, sir. 2,500. Good afternoon. Your name?
Darren Oliveira.
Mr. Oliveira, you are here in case number 20 CF 11487. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. Your bond, sir, is going to remain at $3,500. I am not going to, well, actually, I'm revoking the bond in 20 MM 6600. That bond will be set at none. Thank you.
Your Honor, he has other cases as well. A few other cases.
Oh, he has several burglaries, that's right.
cases. Yeah.
Mr. Oliveira, in 20 CF 11490, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond in that case, it's going to be $500. There's probable cause for attempted burglary of a conveyance. And in 20 CF 11489, there's probable cause for burglary of a conveyance and petty theft. Your bond in that case is $500 on count 1 and $150 on count 2. And in 20 CF 11488, there's probable cause for burglary of a conveyance and petty theft. Your bond is $500 on count 1 and $150 on count 2. In all of the cases, you're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victims. Do you understand? Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Leroy Pittman Jr.
Mr. Pittman, you are here in 20 CF 11532. You were arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause, sir. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Pittman, you're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time, sir. You need to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail. Do you have any questions?
Can you recall what you mentioned to me again?
Sure. So I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. You'll be released today. You can't use any drugs, and you need to appear at your court dates and contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail. Are we on the same page?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon. Your name?
Stephon Russell.
Mr. Russell, this is 20 CF 11537. You were arrested for carrying a concealed firearm. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Ms. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor. I do have a probable cause challenge to make for this case.
Sure.
The issue that I have with the case or with the affidavit is that I don't see any indication that he did not have a carry concealed license in the police report. And on that basis, we'd like to challenge the probable cause in this case.
Okay. Ms. Honeymeyer, did you want to respond?
Yes, Your Honor. So I don't believe whether including that is an issue at first appearance. However, the defendant did give a statement to the officer post Miranda, and he stated that the firearm, I believe the firearm was listed as stolen, and then during the statement, the defendant said that he got it from a, sorry, I want to get the right language. Yes, Your Honor, that he got it from a crackhead for $150, and at never once during that statement did the defendant state that I have a concealed carry license, or I have a concealed carry weapons license, which I think a reasonable person would do if they had such a license. So I think based off of that and the low standard of probable cause, this court could find that there is probable cause for the charge.
Okay. The court does find that there is probable cause. I think that whether or not he had a concealed permit would be an affirmative defense that he could raise in a pretrial motion or at trial. So I'm going to say the bond at $250, and I'm revoking the bond. I'm sorry, $2,500. And bonds in 20 CF 6066 and 19 CF 16148, those are going to be revoked and set at none. Thank you, sir.
St. Fleur, is medical, Your Honor?
He's medical?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Williams, I'll appoint your office to represent him. Did you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. This is 20 CF 1154 and 20 CF 11515. The public defender will be appointed to represent Mr. St. Fleur in both cases. There's probable cause in 11514 for burglary of a conveyance, possession of burglary tools, and criminal mischief. Bond on count 1 is $3,500. Bond on count 2 is $150. Bond on count 3 is $100. And in 11515, bond on count 1 is $150. Bond on count 2 is $150. Bond on count 3 is $100. He's not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victims.
Courtney Stewart, bonded.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm
Yes.
sorry, can we go back to, for Mr. St. Fleur, I have about 7 cases.
I think these two are add-ons from yesterday. We saw Mr. St. Fleur
Okay.
yesterday.
I'll put that to the side, Your Honor. Thank
Okay.
you.
Right, everyone else only has the 2 new ones? Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Malcolm Tyler, Your Honor.
Mr. Tyler, you failed to appear in 20 CF 5571. You failed to appear for your arraignment on June 25th of this year.
Ma'am, they never posted it on the clerk of courts, and my bondsman told me it was no court because of the corona. I actually called several times, and they even had me to sign my bondsman over electronically over my phone. They didn't even let me come into my the bondsman office. And I asked them why I got a warrant. I went down to the courthouse to pay my tickets because on the clerk of courts, it said that I have driving without license today at 3:30.
Mr. Tyler?
Ma'am?
So, unfortunately, Judge Carter cannot adjust the bond in this case because of the failure to appear. So I'm with the public defender's office. An attorney from my office will be in touch with you, and they'll file a bond motion in your actual division with the judge that can change the bond.
Ms.
Okay?
Williams, I'm just going to take a look at one thing real quick, though, before we go. Yeah, it's signed by Judge White. I don't have the information in there, sir, but as Ms. Williams indicated, your lawyer will file a bond motion in Division 17 for you. Okay, thank you. I'm not going to take any action on the driving case.
Oh, I say that. Here.
Traeger for Lou, his mental health service.
Ms. Williams, I'll appoint your office to represent him. Did you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's 20 CF 11498. He was arrested for aggravated assault. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. Set his bond at $1,500. He's not to have any contact with the victim or return to the scene. And I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Mr. Wheel?
Mr. Will is medical, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, I'll appoint your office to represent Mr. Wheel. Did you want to waive his appearance?
So I'm willing to waive his appearance, but I think we'd like to have it reset for a week, or his initial appearance reset for a week to give the state time, I think, to read the affidavit in this case. It's 45 pages, and I believe Ms. Bush would have been prepared for it, but since we have coverage today, I
Ms. Bush
don't think.
did actually just send me, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. She sent me an
No problem.
email regarding some of her notes on the case for the probable cause. The state is prepared and would request the court to find proof evident presumption great based off of the testimony provided in the sworn affidavit, as well as from the, which includes sworn statements from the human trafficking victim, as well as sworn statements from witnesses, the investigation resources, which is including but not limited to online websites, dates, cell phones, and computer dumps, et cetera, that all support the state's contention that of proof evident presumption great. And also, the state would request the court to look at the defendant's criminal history, which includes that he's a registered sexual predator, and should hold him on no bound as to count one.
Okay, Ms. Williams, did you want me to reset? I'm happy to reset it. I would just leave the bonds state as they are, and I'm happy to reset it.
Defense is prepared to make argument in regards to whether or not the state has met their burden in showing a proof evident presumption guilt or presumption met in this case.
Okay, so you do want to proceed with the hearing, with the initial appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you want to respond to her argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
All right, at this time, the defense believes that the state has not met their burden here, and the basis is that the evidence presented in the affidavit filed does not rise to the level of evidence, of proof evident presumption great as to the elements of whether or not the victim in this case, or alleged victim in this case, was mentally incapacitated, as well as whether or not this was coerced. The evidence cited to in the affidavit merely provided a school record, and as to the first element, or the element of whether or not she was mentally incapacitated. The state's affidavit merely showed records or school records from years ago. It showed mother's statements from years ago, as well as a statement from the agent or the filing agent indicating that they believe that the person was mentally incapacitated. At this time, defense is not aware of any evidence or any indication that the agent in that case was qualified to make such an assumption. And as a result, the defense is arguing that the level of evidence as to the element of whether or not the alleged victim was mentally incapacitated does not rise to proof evident presumption great. In regards to the second element of whether or not these acts were coerced on the alleged victim, defense argues that the state's affidavit does not rise to the level requested or the burden of proof requested at this time. The evidence in the affidavit seems to... Just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
So the only evidence as to whether or not these acts were coerced in the affidavit seemed to be that her identification cards were in the hands of the client or the defendant in this case. The other evidence as to coercion seems to be text messages alluding to the fact that the alleged victim did not want to engage in these acts. It's defense argument today that that evidence does not rise to the level of proof evident presumption great. And on that basis, we'd argue that the the court set a bond in this case.
I do believe that the state has met their burden to establish that there is proof evident or presumption great with respect to counts 1 and counts 2. At this time, bonds will be stayed at none as to those counts, and all the other bonds will be stayed. Ms. Williams, your office can file a bond motion in Division 16. All right, thank you. Good afternoon, are you Mr. Wheeler?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Sir-
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes, it's 20 CF 1939. You failed to appear for your determination of counsel hearing on August 25th of this year. Your bond is $7,500. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender to represent you unless you've secured counsel. Have you been able to do that?
No, it's been a little hard for me since I had a bad fall, so it's been really
Okay,
tough.
so I'll appoint the public defender to help you. It's 75,000. Did I say 7,500? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Whatever's on the capias is what my intent was to say.
I'm aware.
Which is 75,000, Mr. Wheeler. I apologize for that. So I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, and they can file a bond motion in Division 19. All right, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Mr. Williams is medical, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, did you, I'll appoint your office to represent him. Did you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
He was arrested in 20 CF 11505 for aggravated assault with a firearm and possession of a concealed weapon or firearm by a convicted felon. This was pursuant to a probable cause warrant. Bond on count 1 is going to be $5,000. Bond on count 2 will be $150. Mr. Williams does have reporting requirements when he is released from the jail. Good afternoon, your name?
Andrew Wilson.
Mr. Wilson? You are here in case number 20 CF 11502. You were arrested for 3 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card greater than $100. This was pursuant to a probable cause warrant. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay.
Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150, and so same on count 3, $150.
So what is the total? I'm sorry.
I don't know. You'll have to add them up. And then I'm not going to take any action on your out on bond case. You does?
I can get mine out.
Oh, wait a second. Mr. Wilson, you were arrested in 20 CF 11531 for driving while license revoked as a habitual offender. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you in that case as well. Your bond is $2,500 in that case. I am going to revoke the bond in 20 CF 10165. That's going to be set at none.
It's gonna be decided when?
It's set at none. So you were out on bond for driving while license suspended as a habitual offender, and then you were arrested yesterday for the same offense.
So I don't have a bond?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Bruce Wool.
Mr. Wall, you're here in 2 cases. I will appoint the public defender to represent you in both. 20 CF 11476, you were arrested for possession of methamphetamine. There is probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. In 20 MM 6924, you were arrested for resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. Your bond will be $100. I am going to revoke the bond and release in 20 CF 7011 and 20 CF 6829. Those will all be set at none.
So I can bond out?
You cannot.
Okay, how do I get to a bond? Because I just started a job yesterday. I
Okay,
mean,
so the public defender is appointed to represent you. Your previous cases are in Division 14, in Division 17, and Division 19, and Division 15. So the public defender's office is going to give you some information, and you'll need to contact their office. And I think that the lawyers there will be able to coordinate, and they can file a bond motion for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
All of them.
so Your Honor, you revoked all the cases?
All the out on bonds are revoked.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, your name?
Good afternoon, Antonio Coron.
Mr. Cologne, you are here in 13 CF 13898. You were arrested for violating your probation. It is alleged that you did not follow the rules of electronic monitoring.
Yes.
Your bond, sir, is set at none. You also have 13 CF 13161. Again, it's alleged you violated your probation, sir. Your bond is set at none. And in 13 CF 13899, you violated your probation, again, by failing to follow the rules of electronic monitoring. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. The bond will remain at none, and you will see Judge Whitehead in the next 7 to 10 days, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
And Your Honor, he does have reporting requirements.
Yes, Mr. Cologne?
You need Mr. Cologne?
Yes, please, thank you. Mr. Cologne, I also need to inform you that when you are released from the jail, you have reporting requirements, sir. Do you understand? Mr. Cologne?
Yes.
You understand you have reporting requirements? You need to register and report as a sex offender when you're released from the jail. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, your name?
Cody Parker.
Mr. Parker, this is 15 CF 4983. You were arrested for violating your probation. It is alleged that you committed the new law offense of battery on September 12th of this year in Orange County, Florida, in case number 20MM6654. Your bond, sir, is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're going to see Judge Whitehead in the next 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Are you Mr. Parker?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Riley.
Marquise Riley.
All right, Mr. Riley, just a second. I've got to call your attorney and get her on the phone. She on the phone. Good afternoon, Ms. Vickers.
Hi, give me one moment.
Sure.
Hi, this is Melissa Vickers.
Hi, this is Judge Carter calling from the BRC Courtroom 1.
Hi, Judge Carter.
Good afternoon. I have Mr. Riley here in front of me. I do want to put on the record, and I wanted to inform the state that Ms. Vickers did serve on my campaign committee, and I did work at the Public Defender's Office. She was my supervisor. I left the Public Defender's Office in 2009. But I did want to disclose that to you before we proceeded.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Vickers, I do have Mr. Riley in the courtroom. I will begin with case number 20 CF 11478. Mr. Riley, you were arrested for possession of stolen or counterfeit credit cards and possession of a counterfeit driver's license. The court does find probable cause for those offenses. Ms. Vickers, were you wanting to be heard with respect to bond on his cases?
As to the 2020 CF 11478, my understanding is that on count 1 it's 1,000, count 2 is 150, and count 3 is $500. So if that's correct, then no, we don't need to be heard on those amounts.
Okay, on 20 CT 5914, which I think is what you're thinking is the third count to the felony case, the bond is actually, yes.
Oh, sorry, yes,
that's okay.
5914. Yes, sorry, that's the CT case. I apologize. Yes.
No problem. Okay, so those bonds will remain as set. And then there are 3 violation of probation cases. There's 16 CF 438, 16 CF 6226, and 16 CF 5021. Those are all violation of probation warrants that were signed back in March of 2018 by Judge Harris. And then when Mr. Riley was arrested, the officer filed an on-view violation related to each violation of probation. Mr. Riley, it is alleged that you have violated your probation. By failing. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mr. Riley, it's alleged that you failed to allegedly violated your probation by failing to report to your probation officer and for failing to live without violating any new law offense as evidenced in case number 18 CF 2150. Ms. Vickers, are you asking to be heard with respect to bond as to the violation of probation cases?
I am, Your Honor. The 2018 case that was violated him on was no information.
Okay.
I think shortly after it was put in. So really the only violation at this point would be the failure to report the one time. So we are asking that you set reasonable bonds. We're asking for $2,000 on each of the violation cases.
Okay. So has Mr. Riley been reporting to probation since 2018?
I don't have that information right now, as I've not been able to speak to Mr. Riley since his arrest.
Okay.
But usually when they file the violation affidavit, it's all told until court.
Ms. Honeymeyer, did you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm trying to catch up on everything, but from my understanding, the defendant was on probation for the 2016 case. I haven't had a chance to look at the violation of probation affidavit for those cases, but it appears that he did pick up the 2020 case as well as, and even if the 2018 case was no information, the state could still go forward on a violation of probation hearing given that the standard is substantially lower. So the state
is the state, though, really going to go forward on a case from 2018, which they know infoed shortly after filing at this point, 2 years later? Like, do they have a witness? Is there a listed victim?
I don't think Ms. Honeymeyer, do you have that information, Ms. Honeymeyer?
Your Honor, I'm looking into it. I do not know. I don't know the reason for the state filing the no information, but again, I cannot speak to what the prosecutor is going to do, if the prosecutor is planning on moving forward on it or not. but it still is a violation. And the prosecutor could still go forward on the charge.
Well, at this time, I'm going to stay the bonds on the violations of probation at none. I don't feel that I have enough information about the history of his probation case, and then I'm looking at what he was placed on probation for, which is trafficking in stolen property, providing false information to a pawnbroker, and commercial fraud. And then I'm looking at the case that he was arrested on yesterday. So at this time, those bonds are going to be stayed at none.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Not from the defense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, Mr. Relly, thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Tell me your name, please.
Crystal Bright.
Miss Bright, you are here for an out-of-county warrant out of Osceola County. It's related to a VOP on a DUI, ma'am. At this time, your bond is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you here in Orange County to help coordinate with the case in Osceola County.
Okay.
All right?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Good afternoon, your name?
Justin Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, you're here for an out-of-county warrant out of Seminole County
Yes.
for failing to appear related to not having a motor vehicle registration or a valid driver's license. Your bond is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender here in Orange County to help you coordinate with Seminole County. I'll also reach out to Seminole County to see if they'd like to modify your bond.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
no problem.
Rodriguez?
Let me see it. On what count? Charge. I don't know if that's the amount or not. I can't tell.
Yeah, bond for $95 for him?
Yeah, I see 95.
Okay, I couldn't tell if that's the bond amount or not. It says bond level. The CTA case level bond. Is that for each count?
Let me check. I'm thinking it combines it under one. That's what it's showing in IMS. It only have one bond for 95. So I guess it's for both.
I didn't think you
It
could do
covers
that.
for
I thought you
both?
had to have a bond set on each count. Because I've had it where when it's set like that and then they try to post it, they won't accept it because it's not, there's not a bond on each count. But I can't tell from the teletype. Can you modify it and split the 95 in half?
Can I modify it?
Because it's the same amount.
I mean, that would be something that you would have to order. I don't think we have the authority to split it if it came as 95 for.
No, I'm saying you can change it though, like I will order it.
Oh, yes, it can be done.
All right, can we bring back Mr. Rodriguez, please? So we'll just do like 40 on count 1 and then 55 on count 2. I'm surprised they accepted it with the one, or they didn't put it as no bond on one count. 40 on count 1 and 55 on count 2. Mr. Rodriguez, I
Yes,
seem to
ma'am.
have misread the teletype here. It looks like you did have a bond amount of $95.
Yes.
So it's going to be 40 on count 1 and 55 on count 2 for the total of $95.
Okay.
Are you going to post that bond?
It's a little tough for me right now because I live in a homeless shelter and they were trying to help me get a job to be able to pay that.
Sure. Okay, I'm still going to reach out to Seminole County to see if they want to modify your bond or if we can get
Okay.
a plea agreement if you're interested, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, your name?
Jose Salvat.
Sir, you are here in a out-of-county warrant from St. Lucie County.
Yes.
I'll get it in just a second. It's a 10-count warrant. It's related to attempted first-degree murder and second-degree murder and possession of a firearm. Bond on count 1 is $200,000. Bond on count 2 is $200,000. Bond on count 3, $200,000. Bond on count 4, $200,000. Bond on count 5, $100,000. Bond on count 6, $100,000. Bond on count 7, $100,000. Bond on count 8, $100,000. And 9 and 10 is also $100,000, sir. It's $1.4 million is the total bond. I'll appoint the public defender here in Orange County, sir, to represent you, to help you coordinate with St. Lucie County since they're not transferring inmates between the jails at this time. Okay? Thank
Okay.
you. All right. Anything else from the state or the defense?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No?
Not at this
All right.
time, Your Honor.
Then court will be in recess.